What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the FPL video. My name is Mo, and today I'll be going through my team selection for Game Week 16. Game Week 15 only has one game left, which is tonight, which is Arsenal against Everton, but my team has fully played out, so this will be my score for this game week. We'll also go through what my thought processes are, what subs I'm making, what my plans are for this busy Christmas period, as we've already hit December and the games are now coming thick and fast. So we'll go through all of that. But before we get into my team selection and my thought process and my transfers, what I'd like you to do is take a moment, hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so far, if you're new around here or if you haven't done beforehand, and hit the like button if you like the content before we get into it. So let's review Game Week 15, how it went for me and what it looks like in the near future. Started off not too well with the back three of Man City. So conceded once again against Watford. They won 3-1, which is a convincing win. But they are leaking goals, the odd goal here and there. So Aston Villa, Watford, Crystal Palace at home. So they are conceding those goals, which I personally thought they would have got clean sheets from at least two of those three games. But I'm still going to stick to the plan. I'm still going to go for the triple up of City. Ellison got a point for 3 saves that he did get as well. No clear-cut chances for any of the defenders for assists or goals either. So, again, frustrating for me. Not a great start at the back. But I do expect City, with the fixtures they do have still remaining over the next 5 to 6 game weeks over the New Year period and Christmas period, I will expect to see a lot more clean sheets. And then going over to Liverpool, last minute winner, Origi, he's kind of like the saviour. Kind of took me back to a couple of years ago when he got that winner in the Merseyside derby. And Klopp came running onto the pitch and, you know, I think it was that Pickford error onto the bar, and I just got visions of that. That was phenomenal. Liverpool just didn't give up. And Wolves, bless them, they should have got something out of the game. But, you know, that's, you know, the Premier League for you. Sides like Liverpool, Chelsea, Man City will play till the final whistle. And you have to stay on your guard. And Trent got 9 points. So he got 6 for the clean sheet. And he got 3 bonus points as well, which was useful for me because both my Liverpool players did give me a majority of my points for this game week, actually half my points. Now moving on to Chelsea. So a disappointing afternoon against West Ham. If you're a Chelsea fan, losing 3-2, and also if you're someone like myself who has at least 2 or more Chelsea players in your squad, unless you have Mason Mount, of course, who again got a good brace of points. But defensively, it was a sad afternoon for Chelsea. 3 goals. I didn't expect them to concede 1, let alone 3. Rudiger, 1 point. James got 0 because he got a booking as well. I think that overall, because of these, lack of clean sheets for Man City and Chelsea this week, this is why the points, because of the whole template moving to defenders now, has kind of kept the score low. I think if there were clean sheets in either game, that 38-point average for this game week so far definitely would have been around the 50-plus point mark that we did have. So disappointed for Chelsea. I generally thought they'd come away 2-0, maybe even 1-0 victorious that game. So not a great start for my 6 players at the back. Barring Trent, didn't really get me any returns this week. Now moving on to my midfield. So my captain Mo Salah, once again, got the assist for Origi to score. Got me the double-digit return, 12 points. Again, it's not just set, pick and forget Salah as captain for game week in, week out. But for me, you know, he is getting at least 1 return consistently per game for X number of weeks now. So moving away from that template and choosing bravely elsewhere. I can't really afford it at the moment as I am trying to narrow the gap in terms of my ranking. As in this week, I only went up 20k so far. Obviously with 1 game to go, that may, you know, go up or down, probably more down because there's no players for mine to come in. So I'm pretty much hoping that I still stick to the green arrow. But I have to wish, you know, for a far better performance next week in terms of how my team performs. So 12 points for Salah, saviour for me, got me some respectable points at the end of the day. Moving on to then Rafinha, unlucky not to get more. What a save from the goalkeeper. Dallas could have scored from that free kick set up by Rafinha. 5 points he got. Could have easily had, 10, I'd say, if he'd got another couple of assists or points in terms of bonus. But not too bad. Rafinha has kind of provided some returns in the last 2 to 3 games. But now it is the question if, I have a decision to make that. Do I still want to retain him during the difficult fixture run that Leeds have coming up, which includes Arsenal, Man City and Liverpool in the next 3 out of 4 game weeks, and Villa in between as well? Or do I move away to someone like, Bowen or Benrahma or other players that look in better form around the same price. But then I can always go back to Rafinha. It's not as if I'm just going to, take him out and forget about him. But that's the decision I have to make for this game week. Now, moving on to Zaha at Old Trafford. Disappointing, only 2 points. But I didn't really see any clear-cut chances for him to really take advantage of Manchester United's new manager, new reign. I'm not going to move away from him because I think I'm going to back him. I need to have a differential option, and for that price, if I'm looking for about 7 mil, 6.8 mil, then Zaha does suit that barrier. So I think there's some good fixtures coming up for Palace as well, especially with Eze coming back now as well. It's definitely going to strengthen Zaha, and he's on penalties as well, so he will come good. 2 blanks. He got 2 returns 2 weeks prior to that, but I think there's some fixtures coming up. I will still stick with Wilfried Zaha. Now Vardy got the rest this week, so it was against Aston Villa, so they lost the game. And he's got his rest. There's some really good fixtures for Leicester coming up. So for me, if he was, going to get a rest, then maybe this week was the best week for him to get it, considering how bad everyone else has done. So for me, it's kind of a relief that, Kane didn't score, or, Ronaldo could have scored because he's part of Manchester United. But you understand the gist of where I'm coming from. No striker really ran away with the show this week. So Vardy being benched, for me, wasn't too much of a massive effect in terms of my rank or my points this week. Hopefully I expect him to come better. He's playing Newcastle next week, so maybe time for another points haul for him. Moving on to Antonio. Antonio was unlucky against Chelsea. A couple of chances in terms of assists, and even himself he could have taken. He used to be on penalties, but after his last penalties miss, he's not going to take them now, I guess. Lanzini took that one. 5 points against Chelsea, and now is where the fixtures get better for West Ham. So obviously Calvert-Lewin ain't back yet. I've stuck with him through the tough times, and God forbid if there's any injuries, I'm not looking to move away from him. But 5 points respectively for him, and I can show you guys what happened on my bench in terms of what happened this week. So we've got Douglas Luiz with 2 points for Aston Villa. Josh King got 1 point against Man City, and Brownhill got 2 points against I think Burnley were playing. Who were they playing this week? They played Newcastle, which they lost, which was a crucial game for Newcastle as well. So again, I got 5 points off the bench. It's not really much to write home about, but with this busy period of Christmas, there will be rotation, so teams will come in and out. So that's why I'm glad I've got players on the bench who are getting minutes. So hopefully I should have 11 outfield players for most of the game weeks that do take place. Now, so let's move on to game week 16. So the team selection. So this is the first time, guys, in a long time that I'm struggling on player 11 and player 12. Now, what does that mean? So I have Bowen, who I brought in this week, and I'm struggling to understand whether I should play him or Josh King, who's playing Brentford away. But we'll discuss that when we get onto it, and we'll tell you which player I've moved out and who I've brought in. So, Edison, Cancelo and Diaz will be playing Wolves at home. Now, I've said this week in week out, I expect a clean sheet. Wolves haven't got much to write home about in terms of scoring goals this year. Yes, Hwang's had a good few periods. Yes, Jimenez has come back into a bit of form. But if City can turn up and keep composed, then I can see a clean sheet, and that would, hopefully get me 18 to 20 points in terms of bonuses, plus the clean sheets all added up together. Then we've got Gerrard versus Liverpool. So Trent will be playing Aston Villa at home. Ollie Watkins has been in some real good form. You've always got McGinn. So Aston Villa, will be on a high after beating Leicester from game week 15. So that'll be a good game, but I do believe Liverpool will be strong enough to win the game. And I think maybe they'll be able to keep a clean sheet as well, because defensively, they are starting to look a lot more solid as the games progress. Now we move on to Chelsea. After conceding 3, Tuchel definitely will have a word with his backline, and I expect them to strengthen their backline as well. Mendy, I don't know what he was doing with Jorginho with that pass and giving away that penalty. I will never understand. Still a top keeper, but it shows that even the best can make mistakes. Leeds at home, so Bamford's back, last minute winner. Rafinha's in a bit of good form, so it will be a test for Chelsea. But what Chelsea need to be, comfortable about is, they just need to make sure they stay composed, and Leeds will, give them a chance to, get forward and potentially even hit them on the counter. So Lukaku's back as well, but I do expect at home at Stamford Bridge, after the whole fiasco at the London Stadium, losing the London Derby, I expect them to comfortably win the game and keep a clean sheet. So if I could get 3 clean sheets, that would be a great start for the back line for me and set me up really well for the game week going ahead. Now, what's actually happened is most teams right now have got at least one City defender, which is Cancelo, for example, Trent or Robertson from Liverpool, and at least two from Chelsea. So you've Rudiger, James, Alonso, vice versa, Rudiger, Alonso. So they've got at least two from each. So they've got that kind of like generic or template backline. So whether they go well or whether they don't go well, that's what reflects the overall weekly score. So for me, a Man City clean sheet gives me that differential aspect. So rather than getting just 6 points for them, which most other people who have one City defender in their team, I can benefit and get, plus 12 if all three of my backline start. So that's the kind of thought process I have around that. So if I'm going to gain advantage, that's the one way I look to sustain it. Now moving on to my midfield. Now this is where the challenge begins. So I've made my free transfer for this game week. I've taken out Rafinha due to his fixture run, and I've brought in Bowen due to West Ham's fixtures. So let me go through Bowen for you. So last week he got a goal and an assist against Chelsea, which gave him a total of 11 points. So far, 10 returns so far in 15 games, which is 3 goals and 7 assists. Now look at his fixture run. Arsenal away will be a tough game for sure. But Burnley away this weekend, Norwich at home, Southampton, Watford, Crystal Palace, Leeds. So not a bad run all the way up to that Manchester United game. And even after that, Watford, Leicester, Newcastle, Wolves. That's definitely a lot of good games, about 10 to 12 games. Obviously, there'll be rotation. That's why I've got a strong bench of players who will look to be coming on if he is rotated. Now, the dilemma I have this week is I'm struggling to choose whether I like to keep Josh King, who's on penalties as well against Brentford, who are away, or Bowen, who are away to Burnley. So at the moment, I'm sticking with King in there, but even in my deadline stream, or maybe a couple of minutes before the teams are submitted this week, I'm still thinking now. I will be thinking, should I play Bowen? Should I play 5-3-2, or should I play 5-2-3? So for now, I've left it as this. I've left it as Josh King up front, but there is a likelihood if I knee-jerk last minute, if I panic, or if I'm uncertain, I may even change it last minute. So that's Bowen on the bench who's come in. Now we've got Salah as my captain at Aston Villa at home. So again, Mr. Consistent, Mr. Reliable, the best player in the world for me is going to be my captain this week. Now, a lot of people are thinking, why not take Zaha out, who's at home against Everton? Crystal Palace have done really well this season, and Everton defensively have been absolutely shocking. This is the best time to potentially play them, and I think Zaha can exploit that defence. And if Crystal Palace are going to give him a good game, and I think he's definitely going to be a crucial part of it. And if they do give a penalty, he's on penalties as well. Would be a good shout to have Zaha in. And Zaha, I've backed him this season, so I want to continue to back him. He will have a good game around the corner, and Everton just don't look very, very assured at the back. So at home, the home crowd will be behind him. That's why I'm backing Wilfried Zaha. And if I think Benitez loses this one, the writing may be on the wall. And I don't want to say that because I really respect Benitez. I wanted him at United. Great manager. I just really hope that he can revive Everton and get the fans back on the right side and his full support. Then moving to the front line, Jamie Vardy, my vice-captain for the week, playing at home against Newcastle. So let's just say hypothetically he's rotated again, or he's benched, and he doesn't play even a single minute. Then we've got Bowen to come on from the bench as well. But I think he will be fit. He will be ready to play because he's been given his rest. On penalties as well, Newcastle on a high after their win last week against Burnley. But Leicester haven't played that well either. So it'll be a good game, full of goals. Callum Wilson versus Vardy. Bring it on. Battle of the defences and battle of the attacks. Moving now on to Antonio against Burnley. Got an assist last week against Chelsea. Got in some really good positions. Unlucky not to get more in terms of points. But I think this is where the run is going to be really tested. And if he stays fit, he stays composed, plenty of points for him to really avail as a player. So I've stuck with him. His ownership has gone down recently, but I think this is the time now where with the fixtures and the way West Ham are playing, people will come back to Antonio to bring him into their squads. And then we've got Josh King. Josh King up front for Brentford at the moment. Blanked in the last 2 game weeks, but he's played Liverpool and Man City, so not really much to write home. So in terms of differential, if he does pay off and he does score a few goals, that would be really good. So that's the kind of decision I've got to make because his ownership's not too high. Bowen's is not too high either. So either way, it's a win-win situation. But that's what the team looks like at the moment for game week 16. There are thoughts in my mind going through that. There's a possibility that I could downgrade Antonio, put Bowen back in, make it 5-3-2. Not for this game week, but in the next couple of game weeks. and upgrade Vardy to Ronaldo. But for me, that weakens it too much. I want to stick to Vardy, but again, it could change. I could go Ronaldo up front and keep King as my second striker. But does that ruin the balance of my team? I think at the moment it does, but that's all in hindsight. But this is what my team looks like for Game Week 16, how it's lined up for now. If anything, Bowen might come in for King, but for now, we're going to set up like this. Let me know what your thoughts are. The benches at the moment, Douglas Luiz and Brownhill, so they'll be playing as well. But that's how the team looks lined up for this game week. Let me know what your thoughts are. Have I discussed players you're looking at the moment? Is there anyone that you'd like to personally talk about? Let me know. Let me know what your thought process are. Let me know what your transfers are. Drop it in the comment section. Give us a subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Help us get to that 1K subscribers mark. We're on a roll now, guys. We're getting there as soon as possible. And hit that like button as well if you did like this video. Join the FPL INKLING League. The code is below my screen. And I'll see you guys very, very soon with some more content. You guys take care, and I'll see you soon.